Thank you, Judge Watford. As a token of appreciation, the class of 2017 would like to present you with this UCLA Law sweatshirt. Our next speaker joined UCLA from New Jersey. After graduating from Wesleyan University with a bachelor's in psychology and theater. At UCLA, she served as co-chair of the South Asian Law Students Association and production editor of the UCLA Law Review. Please welcome our JD class speaker, Anika Amin.
Thanks, Carlos, and thank you, Judge Watford, for your thoughtful words. All right. Good afternoon, graduates, family, friends, faculty, staff, and undergrads passing by trying to figure out what could draw so many people to a field primarily used as a shortcut to the parking lot. Welcome. For those of you joining us from afar, welcome to sunny Southern California, where the beautiful weather is as constant as the mind-numbing traffic. If you flew in to be with us today, I'm really happy to see that you've survived what I endearingly refer to as the loop of existential crises at LAX. My fellow Angelinos know what I mean. You enter that circle fully accepting that this may be the time that perhaps you will not exit. That, like the circle of life, things begin and end at the same point. People who enter your life at one stage may leave you at a later terminal. And if you do not take control, you will watch life pass you by. Alternatively, if you take too much control, you'll watch an Enterprise bus run you over. It's an experience, and I'm thrilled to see you've made it here. To my fellow classmates, congratulations. Graduation is an occasion to celebrate our achievements and reflect on the chapter of our life that is coming to an end. It is a reminder for us to look back at where we were 3 years ago and how far we've come since. In preparing for today, I thought a little bit about how much I've grown during my time here at UCLA. 3 years ago, I would go to the library to do hours of work. Today, I would go to the library to finish a puzzle and diligently color a picture of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg in the presence of 1Ls doing hours of work. When I began law school, I could ride an elevator blissfully from one floor to the other. Now, thanks to Hummel, if an elevator door takes just 1 second too long to open, I'm not only convinced it's going to plummet and therefore begin considering whether my life has had a lasting impact on this world, but I'm also concurrently running through the claim that someone could bring against the elevator company for the negligent infliction of emotional distress of anyone in the vicinity. So shout out to all of our lawyering skills professors for that slice of lifelong trauma. So 3 years ago, if I heard someone call me Miss Amin, I would find it endearingly anachronistic. Now, if I hear someone call me Miss Amin, I look for the nearest exit because I didn't read the footnotes to the case, professor, so no, I don't know what Greek myth the judge analogized to. I do know you saw me furiously avoiding eye contact, so this feels personal. Before I started law school, my friends would complain if I bailed on our plans. Now they complain because I pointed out that since I did not technically, verbally, or textually commit, I could not have bailed on our plans, and it's probably their fault for relying on a promise that never really existed. These are just the facts. So much has changed. 3 years ago, the Blue Book was how I referred to Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix when I asked my mom to mail it to me. Now the Blue Book is the reason my optometrist is still in business, because I'm staring at a Word document zoomed in at 400%, trying to figure out whether or not a comma is italicized. I mean, sometimes it feels like I'm not even the same person who went through 1L just 2 years ago. I once attended class as a 1L with a broken foot and 101-degree fever. I couldn't fathom missing a lecture. To contrast, last month I missed 2 days of class in the same week to go to Disneyland. So I'm sorry, Professor. And while while I use that term in the apology, It's directed to every single one of my 2L and 3L professors. And I won't name any names because it's entirely plausible that they don't remember me ever taking that class. And now is not the time to correct that. You can look for their names in the second edition of this speech. It'll come out tomorrow, but cost $300 more, and that will be the only change. But beyond the trauma and newly impaired social skills, the past 3 years have given me the privilege of being your classmate. On our very first day of law school, we were welcomed in the courtyard by Dean Moran, who listed the many astounding accomplishments various members of this class achieved before beginning their legal career. Among those she listed were a Navy SEAL, a model who walked at Fashion Week in Milan, a congressional aide, and a Miss America contestant. I remember being blown away by how many walks of life my new classmates came from, and how accomplished many of them already were. I was excited to see where they'd go, and I was not disappointed. In just 3 years, members of this class have fought for the education rights of youth in the juvenile justice system, worked on multi-million-dollar productions for some of the largest entertainment companies in the world, helped draft briefs on the merits for 2 Supreme Court cases, one of which was decided in their client's favor just a few weeks ago. Speaking of Supreme Court, this class helped beat our mortal enemies over at USC Law 3 years in a row in the annual UCLA USC Supreme Court basketball game. Okay, we're still nerds. Some of us provided legal services to homeless veterans and immigrants who were victims of domestic abuse through the El Centro legal clinics. Others received awards for their performance at national mock trial and transactional law competitions. And many of us united to put our limited legal experience to work as legal observers and research volunteers with various groups working to protect individuals affected by the travel ban earlier this year. So it's safe to say we've capitalized on our time here at UCLA Law. We have been developing the skills, both inside and out of the classroom, to prepare us for our journeys ahead. We've learned to analyze a problem, consider both sides of an argument, make a decision, and reason effectively to best serve the interests of our clients. And some of us, as I noted earlier, have already had the opportunity to employ these skills for clients in a courtroom or through written advocacy. Most of us will be given that opportunity once we begin our careers later this year. And with that opportunity, we will carry the formidable burden of practicing law, and many will use the law to pursue justice. Someday, the decisions we make may effectuate change and affect people in integral ways. We will have the distinct honor of being called upon to serve others. People will turn to the law and to us as lawyers in times of need, as many recently have. I have to admit, I didn't grow up really understanding what the law was. I'm the first person in my family to attend law school, so it was an abstract concept I took for granted because I could. Because I was born in this country to 2 immigrants who traveled from Bangladesh in search of a future where they wouldn't be limited by class, gender, or family history, and worked hard to ensure that my sister and I had every experience that our peers, whose families had been here for many generations, had. I didn't realize how prevalent the law was in my life. I didn't see how the principles of justice, which serve as the foundation of our legal system, are what drew my parents to this country and allowed them to dare to dream about the unlimited future potential they could provide their daughters. But I do see it now. And I stand before you with pride, knowing that I will embark on a career that will uphold those principles and allow other parents to dream that dream. To my fellow graduates, I'm hardly in a position to offer you advice because most of the time I literally and figuratively look up to you. So consider this some food for thought. Let these principles, the ones that you've undoubtedly learned here, the ideals that our legal system was founded upon, guide you. Channel the drive that led men and women for centuries to strive to form a more perfect union. And consider what that means, more perfect. This phrase has always stuck out to me because for something to be perfect, it, according to Merriam-Webster, corresponds to an ideal standard, or as good as it is possible to be. For something to then be more perfect, you'd have to create something that doesn't even exist. So don't let any existing standard of perfection define your potential. When you've written your best, write better. When you've worked your hardest, work harder. Whatever you do, find your finish line and push it farther. See something perfect and make it more. I'm probably not alone in wanting to thank some people who helped us find our finish lines here today. To our professors for inspiring us to always seek more answers. To Tony, Dean Scavalletto, and the administration for protecting our emotional health and tirelessly supporting our endeavors both in and out of the classroom. To Dean Manukin for your dedicated leadership and many happy hours. To Section 5-6 for taking our Word of the Day games just as seriously as our daily lessons. And to you, our family and friends, for being our constant sources of strength and clarity. And if you'll indulge me a moment, I want to thank my mother, who the moment I was born looked at my face, glowing with my first breaths of air, and said, "She will be a doctor." My mother has always guided me with her indefatigable work ethic and unlimited patience. She taught me to break boundary, and today my gratitude is boundless. But most importantly, to my fellow graduates, thank you all for being my classmates, confidants, co-conspirators, and friends for the past 3 years. I'm honored to be standing here among you and look forward to continue being inspired by you for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Anika. Our next speaker is a member of this year's